So for my video, I'm going to explain how to tell if a tooth is the left or right central incisor or left or right lateral incisor. You can first distinguish between the central and lateral incisors by looking at the size. The central incisors are quite a bit larger than the lateral incisors. And then if that doesn't work, you can look at the crown to root ratio. For the central incisors, the crown to root ratio is quite a bit greater than the lateral incisors, which means that it has a lot more tooth than it does crown. Or a lot more tooth than it does root. And then it's kind of the opposite for the lateral incisors. There's a lot more root than there is crown. So once you've distinguished between the central and lateral, you can then distinguish between the right or the left central incisor. You can do this by looking at the mesial outline and the distal outline. The mesial outline is much straighter than the distal. You can see it has more of a curve here. And then the mesial angle is square and sharp, and the distal angle is rounded again. You can also tell because the apex of the root, so the top of the root, curves slightly in the distal direction. So has a slight curve this way. When looking at the lateral incisors, you can look at the cervical lines. So the mesiocervical line has a greater curvature than the distocervical line. Even though both angles are pretty round on lateral incisors, the distal angle is still even more round than the mesial. And then same goes for the lateral incisors as the central incisors. When it comes to the root, it does also have a slight curve to the distal. So right there. So if I have all of these laying out and I mix them up, I can tell just by starting out that this is the right central incisor, and I could tell that I personally easily because of the way the root curves, and then also the straight square edge that's mesial here. And then as far as the lateral incisors go, I picked up the right one again. I can tell that by the curve of the root and its straight edge mesily here. So that's how you tell the difference.